Did you know that by recognizing early signs of a recession, you can better position yourself to weather the storm? Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel where we turn complex financial concepts into approachable knowledge. Today, we're demystifying the R word, recession, and why it's paramount to stay ahead of the curve. Statistically speaking, the average period between recessions in the US since World War II is about 4.8 years, according to the National Bureau of Economic Research. You might be thinking, that's all well and good, but how does it affect me? Well, if you're caught off guard, a recession could impact everything from your job security to your investment portfolio. But don't worry, that's why we're here. By the end of this video, you'll be equipped with knowledge of the 10 signs that a recession is upon us and strategies to stay prepared. No need for crystal balls or fortune cookies, just facts and a little bit of wit to keep things light. Let's probe into the world of recessions. You probably heard the term tossed around in the news, in offices, and perhaps even at dinner parties. But what exactly is a recession? In a nutshell, it's defined as a significant decline in economic activity that lasts more than a few months. A report from the National Bureau of Economic Research tells us it's visible in real GDP, real income, employment, industrial production, and wholesale retail sales. To provide a historical context without pulling a full Charles Dickens on you, let's travel briefly through time. Remember the Great Recession of 2008? It's a period most would rather not recall, considering it was the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. Triggered by the US housing bubble and the financial crisis, it led to significant job losses and severe impacts on global economies. It's essential to remember that history, albeit sometimes painful, equips us with valuable lessons. By understanding past recessions, we are better prepared to recognize future ones. But no need to panic, this isn't a doom and gloom channel. It's your roadmap to financial understanding and preparedness. In addition to the Great Recession, we've seen other historical examples of significant downturns. The early 1980s saw a double-dip recession, largely due to high inflation and interest rates, where unemployment peaked at an alarming 10.8% in November 1982. Fast forward to 2001, the burst of the dot-com bubble combined with the 9/11 attacks led to a mild but pervasive recession. Interestingly, according to US Census Bureau data, during this period there was a drastic drop in new business formation, from 643,000 in 1996 to around 560,000 in 2001, including the 2008 recession, which we've just discussed. But it's important to remember that while history doesn't repeat itself exactly, it does often rhyme, and understanding these patterns can help us see warning signs for future downturns. Let's kick off with the first sign, a slowdown in economic growth. Economists are like doctors, they check the temperature of the economy by observing the gross domestic product, or GDP. A dip in this rate has often foreshadowed a recession. A classic example would be the recession of 2001, sparked off by the burst of the dot-com bubble. GDP growth in the US fell from a robust 4.1% in 2000 to just 1% in 2001. Now that's a significant temperature drop. A consistent decline over several quarters is typically a warning bell for economists. On to the second indicator, an increase in unemployment rates. If the economy were a game of musical chairs, this would be like the music stopping. For instance, during the 1990 recession, the unemployment rate in the US leaped from 5.5% to nearly 7% within a year. Let's just say that's a jump nobody wants to experience. Rising unemployment means less consumer spending, which can exacerbate a slowdown. Next up is a decrease in consumer confidence in spending. People turn cautious with their wallets, kind of like guarding your popcorn at a movie theater. You don't know when the jump scares are coming. In the lead-up to the 2008 Great Recession, the University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index saw a significant drop from around 96 points in 2007 to about 63 points in 2008. If that doesn't show people cinching their wallets tighter, what does? When consumer sentiment is low, it indicates people fear job loss and economic decline, causing them to spend less. Our fourth sign is stock market volatility. The stock market can be as fickle as a cat near a bathtub, and heightened volatility often precedes a recession. The 2008 Great Recession was professed by dramatic stock market swings, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average plummeting 33.8% in 2008. It was like watching your favorite sports team lose, only a lot less fun. Significant stock market drops often signal that investors foresee economic trouble ahead. Inflation or deflation also serves as an economic weather vane. Remember the 1970s oil crisis. In 1974, the inflation rate in the US skyrocketed to a whopping 12.34%. making that economic storm pretty hard to ignore. On the flip side, deflation was a significant issue during the Great Depression, with prices dropping by 10% per year at times. So whether it's prices soaring or plummeting, you know something's up. High inflation can erode purchasing power, while deflation can lead to reduced economic activity. Next, let's talk about an increase in government debt. It's like a friend continuously borrowing money from you. It just doesn't bode well. For instance, in the lead-up to the Eurozone crisis and subsequent recession of 2011, Greece's debt-to-GDP ratio had surged to 172%. Talk about maxing out your credit. When government debt increases, it can lead to cuts in public services and higher taxes, which can further slow the economy. Our seventh sign is a real estate market slowdown. It's like a game of Monopoly where no one's buying properties. Remember the 2008 recession? It was triggered by a severe contraction in the U.S. housing market, with home prices falling about 30% on average from their mid-2006 peak to their 2012 trough, according to S&P and Case-Shiller U.S. National Home Price Index. When the housing market slows, construction jobs are often lost, and homeowners might cut back on spending. Moving on, we have the tightening of credit. Banks become a lot stingier with their loans. The credit crunch of 2007, which led into the Great Recession, is a prime example. According to the Senior Loan Officer Opinion Survey on Bank Lending Practices, banks significantly tightened their lending standards for both large and small firms starting in 2007. When credit tightens, it can become more difficult for businesses to borrow for expansion, leading to a slowdown in economic growth. The ninth sign of a looming recession is a corporate earnings decline. Companies start feeling the pinch, like trying to squeeze into your old pair of jeans after the holidays. In 2001, during the dot-com bust, we saw this in action when S&P 500 earnings fell by 18.6%. When corporations' earnings decline, it can lead to layoffs and reduced spending on equipment and supplies, which can further slow the economy. Our final sign is the yield curve inversion, a reliable fortune teller of the economic world. When long-term interest rates dip below short-term ones, alarm bells ring. In fact, an inverted yield curve has accurately predicted all U.S. recessions since 1955, with a lead time of 6 to 24 months. It shows that investors have less confidence in the near-term economy than in the long term, which can be a sign of economic trouble on the horizon. Now we know the 10 harbingers of a recession, each providing pieces of a larger puzzle. Recognizing them is the first step to safeguarding your financial well-being. If you are finding this helpful, please like, subscribe, and check the description box below for resources. Here's a fun trivia question for you. Can you tell me which U.S. president was in office at the start of the Great Recession in 2007? Stay tuned till the end of the video for the answer. Up next, we'll discuss how to prepare for a recession, because forewarned is forearmed. Personal readiness for an economic downturn is critical. As we always say, an ounce of preparation can be worth a pound of cure. Now, this isn't about stashing canned goods in a basement or going off the grid. It's about financial readiness. You see, when a recession hits, it's like a domino effect impacting your job stability, your savings, and your overall financial health. Allowing such a scenario to catch you off guard isn't a position anyone wants to be in. All right, time to answer our trivia question from earlier. Which U.S. president was in office at the start of the Great Recession in 2007? If you guessed George W. Bush, you're absolutely right. He was serving his second term in office when the Great Recession hit. Now, while we can't don a superhero cape and stop a recession, historical evidence suggests certain strategies can help weather the storm. Let's look back at the 2008 financial crisis. An analysis conducted by the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston found that households with diversified investment portfolios and a sizable emergency fund fared better than those without. Translation: diversify your investments and build a rainy day fund. Additionally, paying down high-interest debt, having a steady income stream, and staying informed can all play a pivotal role in building your financial shield. Don't wait for signs of a recession to start these practices. It's never too early to start preparing for the future. By starting now, you'll be well ahead of the curve when or if a recession hits. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle of everyday life, forgetting about our larger economic surroundings. However, the key to weathering any financial storm is in the early steps you take to build resilience. Alright, that's a wrap. Don't forget to check out our other videos. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.